It's Boomer. Today we're talking about reacting to history's best kept secret. Like, let's just take a look into it.
Has been floating around too. But one idea seems to get overlooked. Have we considered that this could possibly be some kind of breakaway human civilization who developed advanced technology separate and hidden from our modern 21st century world? Allow me to explain what I mean exactly. There have long been theories and even mythological stories of a certain group who developed advanced technology long before our modern world and was able to stay hidden and separated from the developments and explorations of our Western world. The theory goes
And the elites or the people who run the world actually know about this information, and they're intentionally not, releasing this information just because to control free energy and the supply of free energy. Like, they don't want the plebeians and the public to know about free energy. Like, they don't want that to happen.
that these hidden places and alien-like bases have been found on different occasions in different areas by multiple modern governments, likely beginning around the turn of the 20th century. And we're going to look into all these stories in a minute. They say these bases, or entrances to the world of this breakaway civilization, are located at the poles, both the North and Antarctica. And they've been reported under the oceans in a number of places as well.
And the Antarctica and the North and the South poles are like, that's what I say. Like, they're actually protected by the Antarctic Treaty. Like, no independent exploration is actually possible. You cannot actually visit those places. Like, unless you're on a guided tour to Antarctica, which will take you to a fucking like a small portion of the control land. They actually like put for tourism and shit. Like, and this is a control guide. Like, no independent exploration. It's not even possible. Like,
And USOs, unidentified submerged objects, have been reported by man throughout history. Columbus, Pliny the Elder, even Alexander the Great all have writings and stories about them seeing USOs.
yeah, every ancient historians, not just USOs, but every ancient historians also have thought of mythological creatures like Pliny the Elder. All those people have some kind of like a descriptions of mythological creatures at the far ends of the world. Like, what's up with that? Like, these are genuine historians. These are actual people.
And this is a common phenomenon seen by modern naval sailors and ship captains as well. This has long been a theory to explain UFOs, that they came from beneath our oceans rather than space.
Yeah, the whole shit that UFOs are actually like space aliens from fucking space is fucking bullshit. UFOs are actually like piece of ancient technology that they were present in the ancient civilization, and there were remnants of it in our underwater or some shit. Like, and these were remnants of like ancient technology. Like, there was an advanced civilization on our Earth, and the remnants of this technology like are taken away by the elites who run this shit, and those kinds of technologies are considered as UFOs. Like, I'm not even denying the UFOs are fake, but the guys UFOs actually come from space. That's 100% like poison in the well of information.
We say that the National Socialist Germans found these people sometime during or shortly after World War II. They were obsessed with this breakaway civilization. They believe they were the original descendants of this advanced civilization, the Atlanteans. They say small groups escaped their ideal island when it sank beneath the sea, as Plato told. They were the Übermensch written up by Nietzsche, and the gods.
Yeah, the Plato's Timaeus has the records about Atlantis, and like it was destroyed by some kind of like corruption, but then also like some kind of global flood, as prevalent in every mythology.
From mythology. It was long held in the minds of man, especially during the age of exploration, that the world of the gods and the heroes was separate from the rest of us. They thought they'd find it in the New World, and some say they did, or at least the last remnants of it. But some say it actually still is yet to be found, the place where the gods lived, where the myths took place, the island of Hesperides, the sacred island of the immortals, the Garden of Eden, Asgard.
There's a lot of submerged underwater like continents and land that were submerged under, and there's like huge evidence of it, and no one knows actually. Like, I mean, the current historians don't know actually what civilization they belong to, how it actually got there. There were tons of instances of that actually happening.
Called different things by different cultures.
A lot of information is kept under wraps because we don't want to know public to know about ancient civilizations that are having much more advanced technology than us. That we don't want the public to know about that. That just ruins the whole narrative of the current orchestrated history itself.
This is where the same locations come back into play: the poles and under the oceans. The National Socialist German scientists and archaeologists traveled the world and studied the myths and stories from hundreds of cultures, and came to the conclusion that this place existed deep within massive expanses of space under the Earth's crust. Giant caves, similar to that of the Hong Son Dong Cave in Vietnam, or the Mammoth Cave system in Kentucky. Some actually say some of these super deep caves might actually lead to this inner Earth-like civilization. But Germans believe
Yeah, there's a lot of like, underwater, like, I mean, intercontinental, like underwater, like pathways and tunnels, like that directly corresponds to the ley lines, which are actually like electrical grid structure of the natural electrical grid structure of the Earth itself. You can actually look into that conspiracy, like, and maybe the tunnels will lead to a eventual like underground place or a hollow Earth, as a lot of conspiracy theorists like pointed out, like maybe it'll lead to that place whatsoever.
they were specifically at the poles: Hyperborea, Thule, Agartha, or Shambhala. Some even say they found a way to reach this land through secret tunnels and pathways they found under the ocean near Antarctica, and that they could navigate to these areas using their U-boats, which were state-of-the-art for the time. And this is where many of them escaped to after the war was over, the theory goes. And it's well known that they were on the verge of inventing some new advanced propulsion system just before the invasion of Berlin.
Imagine if Hitler actually like, escaped to Hyperborea. A lot of people say it's Argentina. Like, imagine like he actually escaped. There were a lot of conspiracy about national scientists actually like you know studying Antarctica was actually like beyond Antarctica and shit. Like, what if actually Hitler actually like vanished to Hyperborea, like the Hollow Earth, like he actually escaped there?
Nazi Bell, the Glock. Some say this was technology that was reverse engineered from what they found on their travels to what they claimed to be Shambhala or Agartha, the inner regions of Earth, as they claimed. The flat earthers will tell you this is the regions beyond the poles. The round earthers will tell you that it's secret zones that exist on or near the poles, where the weather turns mild and civilizations have long been locked in isolation. It's only hidden and guarded off and erased from our maps by modern controllers. They point to instances like Admiral Byrd on his expedition to the South Pole, explicitly stating that there was vast regions of greenery. It often seems that tools like Google Earth blur out massive regions on both poles. Or the fact that early maps depict the poles as heavily inhabited, especially by creatures and characters from mythology: giants, cyclops, dragons. And Mercator himself depicted the North Pole.
And if you think they're mythological creatures, you're actually stupid. Like ancient historians, like Pliny the Herodotus, like they all recorded like a lot of like these mythological creatures. Like it's insane. What are these creatures? These were actual people, ancient historians. These mythical creatures, and with there are actually records of it. Like, but we believe in fucking like dinosaurs and fucking shit. Like, but it's okay to believe in fucking dinosaurs and shit, but not okay. But this is considered some kind of mythological explanation. Like,
As a massive island continent inhabited by pygmies, with a huge black mountain at its center: Rupes Nigra, Mount Nauru, the Axis Mundi, the spot all compasses point to. These are the different ideas as to where this breakaway civilization could be located, and the Germans in World War II were looking for these places. They literally had the first base.
yo, that's where Hitler actually vanished. Like, I wouldn't even be shocked. Like, that seems like people say Argentina and shit. Like, that seems like the most probable conclusion.
In Antarctica, and went on archaeological expeditions specifically looking for this mythological place. And when you hear some of these stories of what the ancients said these places were, you might want to set out on an expedition for them too. Here's the story of Shambhala. This one appears in Hindu writings and ancient pre-Buddhist Tibetan scriptures. It's described as a hidden utopian realm with a central palace, or capital, surrounded by mountains, forests, and lakes, inhabited by enlightened or highly advanced beings who live in harmony, free from suffering, greed, and conflict. They practice what's known as Kala Chakra. In the myths, it's a place of extraordinary beauty, longevity, and spiritual purity, often referred to as the land with 1,000 names. The text says it lies somewhere to the north of India. Very vague. So it's been theorized to be anywhere from Tibet to Siberia and Mongolia to the North Pole. And it's the centerpiece to the most important prophecy in Hindu tradition. In Hinduism, it's believed we are in a dark age, the Kali Yuga, it's called. And I noticed a lot of confusion in the comments last time I mentioned the Kali Yuga. It's not ruled by the goddess Kali. There's a separate character in Hindu beliefs known as the demon Kali, two different entities. And the demon Kali is an evil being who embodies all sin and greed of man and took over our
Like, Hindu mythology actually goes crazy. Like,
current age. when the last avatar of Vishnu died. He resides in the evil in the hearts of man, and someday towards the end of the Kali Yuga, man will become so evil, the demon Kali will gain power and incarnate in physical form, and attempt to destroy humanity. But the prophecy says that the final avatar of Vishnu will be born in this sacred unknown land of Shambhala. And when he comes of age, he will ride in on a white horse and reveal himself to the world, and battle the demon Kali in a great war, eventually defeating him and ushering in the Satya Yuga. The ancient Greek writers also spoke of this place. They called it Hyperborea. They spoke of it as an ideal place where the sun shone continuously. There were no harsh winters here, despite it being located at the ends of the earth to the north.
Yeah, almost like insinuating like sun that shines throughout the year, like maybe North Pole or some kind of South Pole. Like that just fits the description.
They say that farmers got 2 harvests every year, effortlessly. And the people there were said to live to 1,000 years. They spent their time singing, dancing, playing music, and feasting in the honor of the gods, especially the sun god Apollo. And they were untouched by suffering. In some accounts, they were a race of giants. Perseus, the demigod son of Zeus, traveled here to seek the Gorgon Medusa. The god Apollo was said to be born there, and visit every year to drink from the sacred spring, giving him longevity, equivalent to the fountain of youth. Heracles, or Hercules as he's known in Roman, in some tellings, traveled here to find the golden apples during his labors. Again, said to be located to the north at the end of the earth, beyond Scythia and Thrace, the ancient texts say. And there's other stories in other cultures too. In Chinese tradition, the immortals and divine
Yeah,
figures
there's a lot of like stories in mythology, like not just ancient Greek mythology, but like a lot of mythology, like travel up, even Sumerian mythology, like Gilgamesh traveled to the ends of the earth and shit. Like they're traveling to the ends of the earth. Like what the fuck does that actually mean? Like,
lived in 2 distinct places. The locations were never described in great detail.
and we all know like the Sumerian mythology and the kings were actually real people. Like, and they had trying so hard to actually like portray that they were like a mythology, like they were not real. Like, but we the Sumerian kings list and the controversy regarding that, like it's crazy.
But the first was somewhere to the west on the great mountain called Kunlun. The second was somewhere out into the ocean, where 5 islands existed, the main one named Penglai. Both places were very similar, both axis mundi points, marking opposing sides of the earth, just like the poles. They also had great golden temples and miraculous trees that grew immortal peaches, granting whoever ate them great longevity. And once a year, the gods and immortals would gather for a great feast to keep them healthy and alive year after year. No one ever found exactly where these places were, and many tried, including the first emperor of China after the Warring States period, and many characters throughout mythology. But they easily could have been referring to the 2 separate polar regions. We also find a similar story in Babylonian tradition, their idyllic region of Dilmun. The Celtics have the
Yep.
other worlds, which eventually became Avalon from the King Arthur tradition, the timeless island of eternal youth, where King Arthur is still said to reside to this day, and where some stories say the Holy Grail is located. In almost every culture in the Americas, all the way from the Andes and Peru up to North American tribes, have the same or similar creation myth that tells of their original home within the earth, a world they inhabited in a previous time to our own, and they eventually emerged from these entrances, located in various cave systems such as those found in the Grand Canyon, the Black Hills, parts of the Appalachia region.
And a lot of like portion of Grand Canyon are like closed off to the public. They were like intelligence agencies that control, most of the Grand Canyon. Like a lot of Grand Canyon is actually like close to the public. That's what I read. Again, never visited. Like that's what I fucking read like and seen. Like there's a huge conspiracy on Grand Canyon itself.
Caves around Teotihuacan in Mexico, or deep in the jungles of Central America. And then the ancient Peruvians claimed they emerged from entrances located under Lake Titicaca. The story usually tells of an original homeland located within caves. The 7 caves of Chico Motztoc in Aztec. The 3 sacred caves of the Inca and pre-Incan cultures. The Pacari Tambo. All places believed to be original homelands of the various Native American peoples. In Hopi traditions, they tell a detailed account of the inner earth realms and who lives there. In their stories, during the turning from the 3rd world to the 4th, our world we live in today, there was a great worldwide catastrophe, a flood. It's always a flood. And the Hopi people were only saved because of a mysterious race of humanoid beings, what they called the Ant People.
Yeah. There's always a flood. Like flood stories present in every fucking mythology. Like that, we can draw an inference from it and say that the global flood actually happened from that because it's present in like every fucking mythology. Like on every fucking mythology there was a global pet service. It's insane. And when we talk about the giants and like these were actually fallen angels and Nephilim, the offspring between fallen angels and humans itself, like they were like giant humanoid creatures, like
The ant people guided them down into their cave systems, where they lived and sheltered them and fed them until the floodwaters receded. When they emerged, usually the stories say from the Grand Canyon, the creator god Spider-Woman guided them to their new homeland, and they encountered other divine characters along the way, like Masa, the guardian of the land, who gives instructions for proper living, agriculture, and ceremonies, basically giving them their entire culture and guiding their civilization. And then the ant people and the divine creatures described disappeared back into their world, only to be heard from in myths and legends. All cultures describe this breakaway people in one way or another. They all have differing versions of the same beings. Often they're teacher gods, or they're described with different features than us. Taller, sometimes with divine-like details, a glowing aura, antennae, large eyes, or even a third eye. Different people claim to have seen different things, but the details all point to the same beings. Some kind of separate civilization from our own, existing here, in the same realm on the same earth that we do, but concealing themselves, only found in our oldest stories that we have from around the time of the last cataclysm. But if all this UFO file stuff and all the other modern stories hold any weight, then it seems they may be coming out of hiding. Perhaps this means we're creeping up on the timeline towards the next cataclysm. Or perhaps there's another agenda. Nowhere in any of the myths does it say these creatures are completely benevolent. They may have helped humanity in the past by giving us knowledge and sparing many of us from the floods of the Younger Dryas.
yeah, there's a lot of in the book of Enoch, there were angels from heaven itself, like angels from sky itself. They were like teaching humanity on metallurgy and cosmology and astronomy. A lot of all the like they were teaching human beings, even in case of cosmetics and shit. Like also like it's started in the maybe in the pseudo book of Enoch. Like I don't remember like, but it's clearly like the main influence we can get from the book of Enoch. Like there were angels that actually like taught humanity like you know higher forms of arts and science.
But they likely have their own agenda. When you start looking into ancient prophecies and what various religions say will happen in our future, it begins to look like these other people, this breakaway civilization, may not only send our protectors like Vishnu or the Maitreya Buddha, but it seems to also be the place where great evil comes from. The beast in Revelation, the
Yep.
demon Kali, the Titans, the serpent gods, the ones who brought knowledge to humanity, like the serpent in the garden, or Prometheus giving humanity fire. In the Hermetic texts, the Emerald Tablet of Thoth, it reads this: Speak I of ancient Atlantis. Speak of the days of the kingdom of shadows. Speak of the coming of the children of shadows. Out of the great deep, where they called the wisdom of earth men, called for the purpose of gaining great power. Far in the past before Atlantis existed, men there were who delved into darkness, using dark magic, calling up beings from great deep below us. Forth came they, into this cycle. Formless were they, of another vibration, existing unseen by the children of earthmen. Only through blood could they have formed being. Only through man could they live in the world. In ages past were they conquered by the masters, driven below to the place whence they came. But some there were who remained, hidden in spaces and plains unknown to man. Lived they in Atlantis as shadows, but at times they appeared among men. When blood was offered, forth came they to dwell among men. In the form of man moved they amongst us, but only to sight were they as are men, serpent-headed, when the glamour was lifted, but appearing to man as men among men. Crept they into the councils, taking forms that were like unto men, slaying by their arts the chiefs of the kingdoms, taking their form and ruling over man. Only by magic did they be discovered. Only by sound could their faces be seen. Sought they from the kingdom of shadows to destroy man and rule in his place. End quote. Even in the book of Revelation, it says the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns that represent the Antichrist will rise out of the ocean. It's never an alien invasion. In
Yep.
all the stories, it's always an emergence from the depths. And that's exactly what we're seeing with these USOs. No one has ever claimed to see a UFO or USO blast back out into the atmosphere and leave Earth, going into space. But many, going back thousands of years, have seen them enter or come from oceans and great lakes, disappearing in the depths. And if the National Socialist Germans found them, or found this place like they claimed, then there's no doubt in my mind that our world leaders are in contact.
Crazy stuff like UFOs and fucking shit. Like that's just military technology. Like built from like remnants of advanced civilization. That's what it is. Like it's not something that's from outer space. Anyone who believes that shit, like it's from outer space and aliens, they're fucking retarded. Like